digital democracy can be a big word that is quite daunting, because way back in Massachusetts itself, just across the street, the folks at Harvard Law School will look at all these things that we are doing in Malaysia as citizen journalism. That is Harvard Law School or Harvard itself. Across the town, across the road, you have this Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and they look at the same thing, but they call that civil media. So I'm not so sure what we are calling it over here, but that is how maybe I like to use another terminology, digital democracy. It's basically that by constitution we are a parliamentary democracy, but the pillars that support democracy is really something that we need to contend with right now, especially days like this. And then thanks to internet, we have a new platform to voice out and get our voices heard. And that's exactly what Global Voices Online had as its byline. It says, the world is talking. Are you listening? So that's a byline.
We've only opened since we took the gamble to open this place in April. I think we've had quite a few events. We had a very controversial Bangsa Malaysia group, even more controversial multi-faith prayers for the former Prime Minister. And then this is going to be the third event here. We have the first time we're having a buka puasa, the breaking of fast for the Muslims. We look forward to more events at the Blog House, and perhaps at a higher level, this can mark a start to sort of a cooperation between us and bloggers around the world. Just a short one. So welcome Klita, welcome Susan Tintang, and welcome Bidin. Thank you.
I've attempted to define the e-democracy or online democracies as a participation in decision-making process at a very high level in National IT Council at that time, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's a bit difficult because although the people at middle level are quite open to this, there's a problem of structure. Our government structure are not ready for it. There's a problem of ownership. So there are many multifaceted problems. So the only thing I managed to do at that time is actually to come up with some kind of system in order to show that it doesn't move from there. So it's a bit difficult. So if we could create this database, number one, of all the profiles and all the achievement, what they have done, what they have not done, their strengths and weaknesses, then this will be a one-stop center for Malaysians to know what their politicians to be involved in. When election come, they can have better, can vote better. Currently, the voting process, right? You go there, you just see a symbol, whether it's rocket or touching this, that X there. So is this the best way for us to work? So we are looking into various mechanisms to create a more informed voters.
In 2006, I got involved in these two people's cases. Until then, I too thought bloggers were unemployed women. And liars, yeah. Then I met these two, went into their blogs and I said, wow, the potential. Went for Raja Petra's evening, met Sean, and the mind was already working. How do I get my message? Because I've got messages that I want to share with my fellow citizens. I've got ideals and aspirations that I want to share. And the blog presented to me a glorious opportunity. What I saw was a chance at people empowerment. It gave me a voice in the public spectrum.
Because you go to the Malaysian blogosphere and you guys are naming all sorts of acronyms and parties and names, and you're saying all this stuff that I just don't understand. I need more context. I need someone to explain these things to me for an outsider audience. That's why we came up with Global Voices. That's why we started the blog. And that's why we decided, rather than creating a software program where it finds all of the blogs and then it just aggregates them and puts them on a page, we're going to hire editors and we're going to pay them a small amount of money. and then we're going to have volunteer contributors. So there's this process where they go through and they say, okay, this is what's going on in Myanmar and Burma, and this is why it's going on. Look what happened 10 years ago, and here are the different generals and what's been going on. And so they give you a lot of context, just like a newspaper would. But they also give you the conversational feel so that you can go away from this page, you can visit each of the links, and you can go to the actual people who are telling you. And so and you start to care more about what's going on in the rest of the world also, because you establish relationships with these people. You leave comments on their blogs, they leave comments on your blogs, you start dating 2 years down the road, you never know what's going to happen. And so we thought, wow, this is so great that we're hearing about what's going on in all these places, but we're only hearing about it from one segment of society. And so we have this idea that the blogosphere is representative of not just what the small, elitist mainstream media says, but it's the people's voice. But is it really the people's voice, or is it just a certain sector, a certain demographic of those people? So we found that we were hearing from a lot of middle-class, highly educated urban people, and we thought, well, you know what, it would be nice if other people started blogging too. And it makes sense that if you have, let's say you have a recent college graduate, 25, 26, who starts blogging, and he's going to tell his friends who are also probably in that same demographic and tell their friends, hey, look at my blog. And that's how we kind of, I don't know how most of you heard about blogging or how you got your blog. I found out from a friend, and that usually is how it goes. And that's why it stays within these groups of people and doesn't get spread out further. And so we said, you know what, we need to have a program. We need to have better documentation of how do you start a blog? How do you video blog? And not only that, but we probably need to give some small micro grants to projects to say, okay, in Malaysia, KL has a tremendous amount of blogs, but what about in the interior of Sarawak or on the East Coast? They're doing some really great stuff in Thailand. They have an English site, which is there, and then they also have a Thai site. And now they're putting up a lot of video. They wouldn't have done it if they didn't have this workshop, because sometimes it's just too daunting. And you think it's going to be really hard, and you don't realize that for $100, you can have a video blog now. That is much easier than it used to be. So to do outreach, it needs to be offline. You can't just chat with someone and say, and get them, if they don't have much online experience, it's hard to get them to do it via chat. So we're trying to set up these workshops, we're doing outreach in small communities, bringing laptops, and it's been really great. This is one of the projects that's in Bolivia. It's called Voces Bolivianas. And it's in El Alto, which is a part of Bolivia that people think, oh, they don't even have electricity there, they don't have internet there, they don't have anything. There are a few cyber cafes, and as you can see in this picture, they're not even that badly equipped, but they just had no one go up and explain what a blog is. They don't understand that the internet is a two-way medium, a multi-way medium. You can read and you can publish. It's not just watching, the skateboarding dog on YouTube.
So do you have an editorial policy?
Yes.
So
We do have a policy.
So what's your policy on Hugo Chavez, for instance, of Bolivia?
We don't have anything written saying when you cover Hugo Chavez, please say this or don't say this. Our only policy is you can't censor a blogger. If a blogger says something, then take it. And we don't censor any comments unless there's hate speech. So I think comments are one of the undervalued things in blogging. And in fact, I don't even consider a website a blog unless it accepts comments, because I think that conversational aspect of it is the biggest thing. The editorial policy that we have is actually mostly about grammar and structure, because there are so many different